Welcome everybody. Today we're going to talk about grenades. Footage in the background is a random hot join with my HGH Rifle Build. Grenades are a kit of the engineer that focuses on high AoE sustained power and condition damage, with plenty of AoE burst from the tool belt. This high damage is also backed with a very long 1200 through 1500 range, depending on if you picked the Grenadier trait. Combining all this together makes grenades ideal for massive World v World zergs, which is where these builds shine the most. Most people also use grenades in dungeon for the great AoE potential and mobs that don't move out of the way. Downsides of this kit include slow projectile speeds and lack of an auto attack. This means every time you want to throw a grenade, you're going to be pressing a button. Slow projectile speeds also mean that if you answered yes, then you are a robot, or at least an android whose left hand was replaced due to excessive spam of the number 1 button. That or you just play a lot of World v World. It's hard to tell the difference these days. If you answered no, then you fear arthritis, and there are many builds that work as alternatives to the ever-popular grenade kit. If you're looking for a good build that can work as either a power or a hybrid, allow me to introduce you to my HGH Rifle Build. This is my personal primary build that I use for most game modes. Berserker, Knight, or Celestial gear are all viable stack combinations. You want to go 6 into firearms, 2 into inventions, and then 6 into alchemy. In firearms you want to pick up hair trigger for cooldown, rifle mod for damage, and then rifled barrels for additional range. Rifled barrels are easily swapped out for another talent if you choose, but I prefer it as it increases the full power range of Blunderbuss, one of Rifle's hardest hitting moves. As you put points into inventions, you get a great minor trait, but you want to follow it up with energized armor. Unless you chose Berserker armor, in which case you want to get stabilized armor. If you chose Knight or Celestial, then energized armor allows you to turn that armor into additional power, and I've never seen anybody complain about additional power. If you chose Berserker, then stabilized armor gives you much needed protection from enemy CC burst. Lastly comes alchemy, which is very straightforward. You want fast acting elixirs for fast cooldown, cleaning formula, and then the Grandmaster HGH. This combination is incredibly potent, because every elixir will be giving you might and be cleansing conditions at the same time. Grenade builds can run this as well, but we aren't using grenades, so it frees up a utility slot for an additional elixir. Not only will these elixirs help you, but the tool-built versions of them will also affect your allies, allowing you to boost and cleanse your whole team at the same time. Should you prefer condition damage or hybrid builds, this build is easily made into a hybrid by taking 2 points from firearms and the 2 from inventions, and putting them all into explosives, and then you pick up incendiary powder and acidic elixirs. This allows you to burn your enemies and strip away boons, all the while still cleansing and boosting your allies. This alternative build works well with either rifle or pistols and carry and armor. But if you want dedicated condition damage, then use a pistol in rabbit armor. Most of your damage comes from might stacking with HGH, so your base armor doesn't mean too terribly much.
Where am I?
If elixirs happen to be too cool for you, instead try Static Discharge, one of the oldest engineer builds. Static Discharge builds are pure power. You want Berserker or Knight armor. This build entirely relies on you killing the enemy before they kill you, so you have very little defense, especially from conditions. You want to go 4 into firearms for hair trigger and rifle mod, and after that you want to go 4 into inventions for energized armor if you're wearing Knights, or stabilized if you're wearing Berserker. Then you want to follow that up with power shoes, because you don't have very many ways to get swiftness, and moving slow makes you a sitting duck. Lastly, you want to put your last 6 points
You
into
lost the
tools,
waterfall.
starting off with static discharge, the cream of this build, and then you follow it up with either power wrench or scope, depending on if you want to use the toolkit for the shield. And your final point, you want to use adrenal implant, because that trait is essentially passive vigor that is always active. There are of course other builds, but I consider these some of the best if you dislike grenades or just kits in general.
You've captured the quarry.
If you think your build is better, let me know in the comment section below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.
I'm stuck. My leg. Your lord is under attack.
I'm failing quickly.
Your lord is under attack.
I feel good.
Your lord is under attack. Armored up. Eat my dust. You've taken